Hey you, welcome back to Solo Chat. My name is Jeremy. If this is your first time watching Solo Chat, thank you for showing up. Hopefully you can like and subscribe, but also for the people who have been subscribing, been looking for that Solo Chat, thank you so much. That's why I'm trying to kick this stuff out so that you can understand what's out there and we can talk about different topics around Solo. Today's topic around Solo is theme. So how much theme matters in your purchases. But we're also going to have a short review of Endeavor, which I'll have a longer one outside of this so you get a full scope of the game, but you'll also see how it plays solo here, which I just kind of touch on in the review. Then we're going to talk about games that are just released. So we'll kind of go through those. And as a matter of fact, that's where we're going to start. This is Fate Forge, Chronicles of Khan. You have this base game, and then you also have an expansion with this really cool character. I'm not going to spoil that one, but we'll just start with Fate Forge. Fate Forge has an app. The app supports the game. There's no extra book with all these logs to read. You do have to read the app. It's not voice acted, which is one of the weak points of the game, is that it's not voice acted. It is a whole bunch of just sound effects and different music that you're going to hear. But the actual gameplay, it's a dice chucker. You actually have dice that can evolve. You'll have 4 dice. The characters have basically actions that they can choose from that set of dice, and they all have their own thematic touch. But the thing is as the game moves along, these icons that you have, the dice are going to change how they interact with those. So for example, a ranged character can become this leader on the battlefield. So instead of using their arrows just for shooting from range, now they give different abilities as well. Same with the magic person, or same with the warrior, the guy, he actually adds a shield, but then he can shield other people one away. Like there's all these different things that can be added to the fold, and that's where Fate Forge shines. It's very simple setup because the app tells you how to set it up with all the tiles. I will say initially you're going to be fumbling over tiles, but overall, very easy action system. The enemies are very easy to understand. I mean, all you're doing is just saying, are they 1 away, 2 away? This is how the action works. This is how that action works. But one of the really cool things is how much pressure this is, because it's sort of a puzzle that you're trying to get to by a certain amount of rounds. And what you're doing is if you reach the goal in a certain amount of rounds, you're good to go. But you also have to draw a line back to the entrance and escape. And that right there, that right there is super tough. This game has different acts. It's 3 acts, and I think in the base game I played through 2, and they're really good. There's like 8 to 10 missions in each one. The story is solid outside of the wild race names that they have in the game, because it's really hard to read all these fantasy names. Would have loved some voice acting, but I give this game a very high recommendation. Stay tuned for my solo cooperative top 10. This will likely be on it, and very high, by the way. All right, next up, I have a series. Ken Fire series, if you didn't watch my top 10 last year, love Ken Fire Chronicles, and now they're adding another one to the series. The thing about this is man, they're selling this, I don't know what they're doing selling this for so cheap, but they're like 20 bucks a piece. And there's a lot of gameplay in here. This is still the same world as Ken Fire Chronicles. I'm pointing to it because my Ken Fire is right there. And they are basically, you're these, what do they call them? They call them seekers. Yeah, I was trying to think of the warrior word that they have in this game. They have seekers, and these seekers are going to go out in the video game. They're going to go out. I say video game because I'm about to explain how that is. You're going to go out and you're going to go on these adventures. Think of like Witcher. I think somebody who was involved with the game was involved with Witcher. But there's all these different things that they go out and do, and you go on different quests. Well, the card system is what sells this game, and the card system is inside of here. You're going to have characters that are in that box playing in here, and what you're going to do is you're going to be playing cards from your hand that match different colors and dealing with different enemies based on they're in a kind of a T situation. You have your final boss in the middle, and then you have different traps, obstacles, and enemies that are going to come out as you place them and take care of them. You're going to put progress on them, which equals attacks, and then you're going to have red, blue, green, and white cards. Those cards are what you're going to play to them so that you can knock them out. And if you knock them out, you'll progress through the deck, which is a big deck, to get through to the bottom of that dungeon, the well or whatnot. And then at the end, you're going to fight one of the Vainglories, but the Vainglories have these things around them. They have these different things around them, and you kind of have to figure out how you're going to get your attacks through. But the card system in this game, it has support. So what you're going to be doing is when you play a card, someone else can play a card on their hand, and it helps support you so that you can roll some dice and help fight this beast. But there are consequences if you don't defeat the beast, and then there's also the fact that if you're using all your hand and your hand is gone, there's also a penalty for that, and that also can trigger the end of the game. There's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of smart design in here, and as the characters develop, they even have their own lantern ability, which is like their own kick butt ability. Just the fun that you get for the price that you get, the feeling of tension and choices just feels right. It's the right amount of like meat on the bone, and you can mix the characters up in this game from the other ones. As a matter of fact, you're going to have access to the roster, more of the roster. So from this world, so definitely high recommendation. This is the most recent one, the Callus Lab, but I will tell you, all three of them are very, very good. Callus Lab is the best one, but Callus Lab is the best one. It's like they kind of started with Vainglory and then it just got better as they moved along. I would say get all three. It's only $60. It's basically the cost. It's less than the cost of Fate Forge. Okay, like there's a lot of game in here, and it doesn't get stale because your choices are always going to be there. But those are the games that I want to share with you that are just delivered. This one came out at Gen Con. This one just came out now. I've just seen it in stores. I believe I've seen it on Miniature Market for like 80 some bucks. It's got enough packed in there for me to feel cool telling you about that. And that's it. Let's get to our review of Endeavor. Hopefully that wasn't too much. Let's get to the review of Endeavor. All right, I'm going to give you a quick review of Endeavor Deep Sea. So we cut these into quick segments here so you can get an idea. Today's game, Endeavor Deep Sea, it's a sequel thematic flip from the Endeavor previous game, which Kids Table Board Gaming Burnt Island brought that one back because there's an old version. They rehashed and made it an awesome version, and it was like a slave theme. I wasn't rocking with it at all. I don't care how it changed. I didn't like it. So we have Endeavor Deep Sea, which is taking this more ecological Earth, kind of restoration of the sea. So they're going down in the sea. It's a conservation project. You'll be doing some of those as you go along. And thematically, there's a whole bunch of different scenarios that you have through cards. There's 10 scenarios, and they're going to walk you through different ways of making impact on the planet. But that also opens up some of the scoring that goes on in the game. You see, you're going to be playing over 7 rounds in a solo game and cooperative game, and you're going to be developing your crew. You'll start out with level 1 people, and as you unlock things on your board, you'll go higher and higher and get more people, pull off more discs, get more discs, which are your action selection tokens, and whatnot. So here's how it goes. In the solo game, instead of like the base game, the actual competitive game, you're going to have goals. You'll have the 3 goals that are on the side of the card. Most of them are like expressing your sonar, being in a certain spot, having your discs in certain spots as well, doing a lot of journal research, things of that nature. But ultimately, the cards will tell you exactly what you want to do, and things may get more difficult, or things may change up the strategy of how you unlock the impact board. But basically, on your turn, you're going to be placing one of these discs, and you're going to be placing it on one of your actions for your characters. And the characters have different actions, like starting with your leader, which has every action in the game. You have movements, you have conservation, where you're going to be placing discs in areas between 2 areas so that you can unlock more benefits. And ultimately what you're trying to do is move further and further down these tracks so you have more and more. You also have these scuba diving things. When you flip them over, you'll get more research or additional actions. There's a lot of stuff that's going on in this game. But progressively, what you're finding out is that it gets super tight. This is a very, very I want to say hard. It is very hard. It's actually not very easy to get through these scenarios and score, because you have to complete 4, 5, 6, 7, depending on that, of these missions. And then meanwhile, there are some setbacks that come along the way. And each round, when you have these setbacks come in after the first 3 rounds, you don't even know, first of all, what your 3 extra goals are. And then you also have, on top of that, these 4 setbacks that come each round after that. So you don't even know where things go. Like the last game I played, there was a tsunami and it moved everybody this way. Crazy. One other detail that I think is really, really cool about this game is the tiles. So you start out with like a tile setup based on these cards here, the cards, and they have a front and back, so they have different scenarios on those cards. I'm just maybe escaping. There may be more than 10 scenarios. I can't remember off the top of my head. But you're going to have these different scenarios, and they'll start out with a specific setup, but they'll also tell you, like, hey, this is how far you can expand the map. The map, and what those maps are these tiles, these depth tiles. And as you get better and you unlock more ships and you go further, you can go deeper, and these things get deeper, they get darker, and they get darker. You'll see some more dark stuff there, not just whales down there, and there's a lot of stuff down there. So you're going to see all this cool stuff. You're going to be unlocking things as you go along, and what it does is as you're unlocking, you go to certain spots, you are starting to unlock more of your board. Your board scores points for how far you go on those tracks, and then you also use research to deal with these journal cards, which in turn upgrades your crew and also upgrades people around you, but it's only you. So quickly, there's a lot of stuff going on in here. I think the real cool parts to stop it from getting stale are these mission cards, because they actually have different paths with your impact pieces that you can score from and get benefits from along the way. But it doesn't do the same thing every time. There's actually things that you need to handle first before you get to something else. That is important. And for solo mode, that spices things up. It kind of even spices up the way you attack this game. Like I have one where you have to get 5 of the level 1s. You can level them up. It's just that, like, that's a very tough game to kind of go down. Or you're kind of under pressure to get to levels 3 and 4. Well, that means you got to take the action to flip one of these tiles. You got to take another action to flip and get one of those tiles. But then you also have to have the depth to go, the depth that you have to unlock as well. Smart stuff. But you get to feel smart when you do complete these things, and oftentimes it's going to be very tough. And if you don't have success, how do you deal with that? That's Endeavor Deep Sea, though. I highly recommend this game, and I totally understand now why Endeavor was so highly rated. But from what I hear, this has definitely got some more tweaks. In fact, I play with a guy who doesn't like Heroes, but like Endeavor was one of his favorite games of all time. And he played this with me, and he said, this game's better. That's the first thing he said. This game's better. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay. So I thought about that. And also for myself, who's played this in many different ways, I would say co-op is its weakest, because I would rather just do these goals on my own. It does make the game harder as well, but I'm not a big fan of the co-op. I'd rather just play the solo or competitive. So definitely give this one a look if you're looking for a new twist on Euros, a little bit different on action selection type stuff, and just kind of turning things up. I think those scenarios is what sets it apart from its previous game. That's Endeavor. High recommendation. If you need a score, I'm going to say 9. It's that freaking good. Definitely going to be on the top 10. 100% going to be on the top 10, and it'll probably be on the higher end, because I think this one, for me, is one of the best games I've played in a while. This year specifically, this one will stick with me. Very excited about Endeavor Deep Sea, and the components, as always, are great. Kids Table Board Gaming, Burnt Island always does a great job, and they actually have like eco-friendly stuff. It's not plastic. There's no plastic in this game, I don't think, or minimum plastic. I can't think of anything that's plastic in this game. So keep that in mind. All right, party people, let's get to today's topic. All right, today's topic is theme. And how much does theme mean to you, especially for solo games? You got nobody around you. You're just hanging out on your own. Or if you're playing co-op, it's like you and someone else. How much do you need theme? One, when you're purchasing, and how much do you need to like be present in that theme in order to enjoy an experience? Now, I want to know, first of all, some of your most thematic games that you enjoy, and also games that are not hitting the theme, but they're still so damn good. I think that's important too, like against the grain. So like, what are your favorite themes? And I'm looking at these because I want you to make sure you understand where I'm going with this. You have a game like Deliverance. Deliverance has a faith-based theme. There's angels, there's demons, there's Bible verses on the game cards, things like that. Now this game is basically similar to Massive Darkness 2. It's got skirmish, it's got all that stuff. It's just straight up awesome. That's the thing. It's awesome, but it also has a theme that you may not be excited about. You may not be Christian, nor do you care about faith, but I feel like this game kind of goes beyond that. Is that how you feel? Now, you have war periods of time. I think this takes place through World War II, I think World War I, World War II, and you are playing cooperatively as agents. Now, war as a whole, that kind of stuff. Are you into that? This is important because we purchase with our hearts, we purchase with art, we purchase with a lot of different things, but I often think of theme as like a kind of a deal breaker, or we start here or we're done here. So that's kind of a different thing. Let me know how you feel about war. So you have that faith base, you have war, and then you also have something like Endeavor, which is this eco-friendly twist. They moved away from a theme, and some people don't like that theme. Think about Great Western Trail, same thing too. They moved away from certain parts of that theme inside of there, just changing pieces. This changed up an entire theme. What do you think about something like that? Now, for me, theme means something sometimes. Gameplay means everything to me all the time. I have seen many of games come up with beautiful themes, with great, just awesome thematic touches, and then when I think about it, the game is trash. Okay, so we don't, not necessarily all the time, but what if the game is trash, but the art is beautiful, the theme, the world that they built is awesome. That for me, it walks the line. Here's another good example of something that I don't rock with typically, but I do have a couple games. Cthulhu Death May Die is one of my favorite games of all time. I love chucking dice in that game. I love everything about it, going mad, all that stuff. But I don't like Cthulhu themes, okay? Like, I don't like them at all, okay? I also have one more game. It's called Fate of the Elder Gods. I think that's the only two Cthulhu, and Last Lighthouse by Buttonshy, which I think is okay. But I typically love specific themes, and that is just not one of them. But it breaks my mold. I should even say mechanically, I have games that like I don't like specific mechanics, but it's still the same thing. Like I will lean towards it. But what I'm trying, I'll lean towards it, and then I like them, like Area Control. I may have like 3 games in my entire collection of a couple hundred games that have Area Control that I just don't like it. But the ones that I like, I love very much. But I kind of wanted to think of, I was just thinking, like, what themes do you stay away from just immediately? So I'm asking all these questions, and that's kind of where I'm going. Where do you lie on that? But for me, it's always gameplay over everything. I can't stand a beautiful game that stinks mechanically. I will not apologize for it because of the beautiful components. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. There are many miniature games like that. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful miniatures, and not a good game. See Zombicide. Anyway, used to be cool, but like to me, they're just boring. They're just drab. Anyway, with that, party people, this concludes the episode of Solo Chat, and I just wanted to talk to you. We have an Essen episode coming up. We got some more Essen coverage coming up on the channel. I will be talking about more solo games. Please check out my review for Endeavor. It's a more in-depth review. I was kind of rambling on in this one. And then we also have some Deliverance coverage. I actually pulled this box out because I was doing a preview for Deliverance. This is one of my favorite games, so I'm just going to be showing it and talking about it and trying not to gush too much. It is a sponsored preview, just so you know. I should have said that in this one. I did have a playthrough of this one back in the day when it was on crowdfunding, so you should know that kind of stuff, but I'm not trying to hide nothing from you. I just want to share my opinion on the game. You'll find out more in my review. All right, folks, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully I helped you out with the Ken Fire series and all the other stuff. And please respond to me your thoughts on these games. I really appreciate you. I miss you. And I won't be back. I won't be gone for long very soon, I should say. I won't be gone for long very soon. I'm not editing like crazy, so I'm going to keep all this stuff in. All right, party people, you take care and have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me on Solo Chat. I hope I see you next time.